today we're gonna have like a everything is gonna kind of be based off of pigeon pose. Okay. So really that feeling, I'm using this because you can see it. Like if this was your like upper leg bone, like going into the hip joint, like, and that's the knee, right? That we're really going to try to be working that rotation in the upper leg to I have some low back pain actually. So this class is for me and you guys are along for the ride. Okay. So, kind of to relieve the low back pain here. And then through the repetition of the shape, hopefully being able to go deeper and deeper. And then today it's kind of two things that I want you to focus on. The first one is a kind of yogic metaphor that they use a lot. And it's that your mind is a kite, okay? And it is constantly being blown by the winds of change in our lives or our distractions. And the breath is the string, okay? And that ability to hold on to the breath, to hold on to the string, and then fly your kite in the direction kind of that you want to go today. So we're going to kind of like direct the breath down and back into the hips. And you're going to see that in a second with how we start. And then secondly, um, listening to a podcast a little bit about the neuroscience of connection. Okay? So, Julie, you have kids. So even a baby, if you look at a baby intensely for a while, they will look away. They will disconnect, but then want to come right back to it. So a lot of our yoga practice, it's not trying to stay in like continuous connection. They would actually say that one time of 30 minutes staying completely connected doesn't do the same benefit for our brain as disconnecting 30 times, but coming back together. So it's that constantly disconnecting a little bit and then remembering to come back. Okay. And that is how actually, because it starts to just like you drift off and the kite goes in one direction and you pull it back. The kite goes in another direction and you pull it back instead of just holding tightly onto the kite in one place. Okay. So that's what I want you to maybe reflect on a little bit as we practice. So to start, we're going to start in Sukhasana, right? That's that kind of very particular, and we're going to face the top of our mat. Okay, you guys probably know how to get into this, but just to be clear, like even in pigeon pose, we go with that like 90-degree bend at the hinge joint of the knee, and I flex my ankle, and I take my right shin over my left, and I try to position my feet almost like blocks underneath the knees. Now, it's always helpful for me to take the flesh of my upper legs and kind of internally rotate it. Or you could feel like you're pulling it kind of back and spreading it apart. So you have more connection to your base. Before we close our eyes, I put my hands gently on the fronts of my knees and I just pull ever so slightly to help me to lift and extend the spine. And then you can let the elbows and the shoulders relax. As you close your eyes. Starting to take slow, deep breath. Picturing your lungs like you are blowing a big bubble. As a kid, my favorite gum was like Bubblicious watermelon flavored, and I'd put 4 pieces in my mouth and try to see how big of a bubble I could create before it popped. on your own, just a few more times. And if that helps you to really feel that full roundness of the breath going all the way into the back body. And then either with your eyes closed or open, we're going to do some seated cat-cow. So I bend my elbows, hold on to the knees again, but now pull a little more strongly to rock forward. And start to feel the arching of your low back, your lumbar spine, and the engagement of the muscles between your shoulder blades. Stay there for one more inhale. And then as you straighten your arms, rock all the way back, flexing your spine, kind of hanging from the knees. Continue. Inhale, pull forward. Kind of feel your sitting bones widen back behind you. And then rock in, and you're going to feel them kind of come together as your tailbone hooks forward. Take two more. Inhale, open. And then exhale, draw back and have the little pause at the bottom where you really try to pull the belly button back towards the spine. One more. Inhale. Floating up whenever you want. You could imagine your head like the kite, your spine like the string, and exhale, rock back. Okay, now once you rock back, pull forward, come to seated, press the pubic bone down, and now walk yourself forward, folding out here. If you want to stack your hands or use a block. Good morning, Maria. Hi. Okay. So, Maria, we're starting in Sukhasana with our shin bones folded right over left, feet pressing out away from you. Okay, now, Julian Zubair, I want you to feel how both legs are kind of in that like pigeon pose. At the top of the right shin presses down towards the floor, right? You could bring your awareness into your inner right knee. Press your inner right knee down towards your outer right knee. Bring the awareness into your inner left knee to your outer left knee. Knees forwarding down. Now, as you drop your head heavy and melt your shoulders, grab a hold of the string of your kite and guide your breath. Inhale, lengthen a little. And then as you exhale, I want you to work pulling the belly button back in and up. Really scoop out. You need a little more space. Can you stretch your rib cage any more forward away from your outer hip? And then take one more round of breath, focusing on that bottom part of the exhale. Let that be your connection point. And then use your inhale to come back up to seated, keeping your legs. Keep your legs here. Left hand outside edge of right knee, right fingertips back behind you. To sit tall. And so it does help me to think like the wind kind of taking the kite up towards the sky, pulling the string of the spine more taut. Inhale. Use the exhale to pull the belly button back. And does that give you more space? Keep the legs as you come back to center. And then you're going to drop down onto your elbows and pause. So what happens, you guys, is the flesh of my buttock kind of bunches up. So I lift my hips a little bit and tuck the tailbone under so my low back feels a little bit longer, and then that should start to stretch you into the front of the leg. Keep your knees pressing forward and down as you help yourself to lie all the way down onto your back. stretch the arms up overhead, and then cross your forearms and grab your elbows. So essentially, our forearms kind of look the same as our shin bone. And then with your eyes closed, I picture myself like a very long rectangle. Anchor your knees down and forward, and then can you slide your shoulders back, your elbows back, and let the sides of your rectangle grow a little bit longer. And then it can feel really nice here to just relax the abdominals and let the core stretch. Inhale, exhale. Keep your arms, step your feet into the mat, hip width distance apart. Extend your arms straight back, bicep next to ears, and pretend like you're holding a block in between your hands. Lift your hips up, hooking the tailbone forward like a fish hook into the pelvic floor. And now once your hips are lifted, can you walk your shoulders back any further? Reach through fingertips. Inhale, lift, good Zubair. And then take your time. Keep reaching back through your arms. As you lower down your upper back, your mid back, in your hips, all the way to the sticky mat. Should feel nice and long here. Cross left ankle over the top of your right ankle. Yep. Ankle is very locked today. In Zubair, just the ankle, not the knee. Perfect. Thread the left hand through the hole and draw your right knee in towards your chest. Thread the needle pose. So for a lot of us, this is actually a more effective way sometimes than a pigeon pose to get into that left butt muscle, your gluteus maximus, because your spine gets held straight here. So with the hips on the mat and the spine very long and extended, keep pressing your tailbone or your sacrum deeper into the floor. You should have a little arch in your low back. And then try to draw the knee in and guide the breath into that left hip. It's perfectly okay if you end up letting go of the string, you let go of the breath for a second, and then you try to re-catch it, connect again. That's how we build that mind strength. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Set both feet down into the mat. Extend your arms up and over. Okay, glue your feet into the mat. And can you do a full sit up here? Keeping your feet glued into the mat. Nice. Hook your thumbs at the top. Open the chest. Inhale. Reach your arms forward as you roll down your spine, controlling here. Arms reach up and over, lengthen. Inhale. Chin to chest, round up, pull up to seated, hook thumbs. Take a little back bend here. You should feel your spine move deeper into the body, and you're going to do one more. Lower slow, up. So that's the hooking of the tailbone. Arms reach back. Inhale. Take your time. Exhale. Lift all the way up here. And then release. Left shin crosses over right. Make sure your ankles are flexed today. That's going to help protect the knees. Hold on to the fronts of the knees and we'll go a little bit faster. Inhale, forward cow. Exhale, scoot round back. Pulling the hip points away from the thighs. Inhale, tip pelvis forward. Exhale, rock it back. And one more. Inhale. Open the chest. Exhale. Squeeze the abdominal. Rock back up. Find the top of your sitting bones. Keep pulling. Lengthen the belly button away from the pubic bone, the heart away from the belly button as you fold in here. Did anybody feel their knees just kind of drop here as you fold in? Body scan as you relax the face, neck, and shoulders. And now focus on the breath. Inhale. And it's the bottom of the exhale that creates space. Lengthen the rib cage a little bit forward. Inhale. Exhale, pressing the knees down towards your feet, pressing your feet deeper into the floor. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Roll up through your spine. Feel centered over the pelvis. Right hand outside edge of left knee, twist. So there you go. Inhale. Exhale completely. Those touch points that bring us back to connection come through, center seated. And then I'm going to start to lower down. Okay. Posterior tuck of the pelvis is how you stretch the front of the legs and then lower down. Arms lengthen back up overhead. Grab opposite arm, opposite elbow. And if I was there, I would hook my thumb in the inside kind of crease of your knees and help pull those forward and down towards the front corners of your mat. And then you're trying to walk your shoulders back, your elbows back. And hopefully you feel the belly just kind of soften. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the arms, step the feet into the mat, feet hip width distance apart. Extend the arms straight back, squeezing the triceps, hold on to the imaginary block, thumb down, pinky finger up. That should rotate your upper arm bone. And now curl the tailbone, lift the hip, bridge pose. Good, some more strength on the back body. And now walk your shoulders back a little bit more, still reaching your knees forward. Good, super. Inhale, reach through long, straight, strong arms. Exhale, take your time as you lower your spine down, trying to control it as much as possible here. Inhale. Exhale. Right ankle crosses over the top of your left knee. Create that half figure four, and then right hand thread through and draw your left knee in towards your chest. A lot of times to grab that knee, my hips do lift off the mat. That's totally normal. That's disconnection, which is okay. But then we remember to reconnect. Lift the low back a little, press the sacrum down, and think to widen your thigh bone. Inhale. Exhale. Follow it all the way to the bottom of the breath. You're going to have one more. Breathe in. Breathe out. All the way into that outer right hip. Release, step both feet into the mat, arms stretch back up over your head, and you just have one sit up here. Inhale, glue the feet. Exhale, sit all the way up. Good. Now please bring your ankles and knees together. Left elbow, outside edge of right knee, twist. So Maria, before you jumped on, I said that I'm having low back problems today. So this class is specifically for me, but I know you have them sometimes too. So this kind of releasing of the glutes and then wringing out of the tension supported with core usually really helps me. Come back to center, arms up, long spine, so we're not collapsing. And then right elbow, outside edge of left knee. I'm pushing my knees to the left so that they stay centered with the hip. Tall spine, inhale, lift up out of the low back. And exhale, good. Come back to center. Cross your ankles, plant your palms. Tabletop position. From tabletop, take your hips up and back, downward facing dog. If you like your eyes open, it can help with your proprioceptive ability, kind of seeing your body in space. If you want to close your eyes, working on your introception, feeling the inner body, maybe becoming a little bit more comfortable with the contents of your mind. Inhale. Exhale. Great down dog, Maria. Nice long spine. Good. Step your feet forward to the top of your mat. Hands to shins. Inhale, open. It's a standing cow pose through the pelvis. Exhale, fold in. With your feet glued on the sticky mat. Remember, you can always try to pull the mat apart to widen here. And then hands to hips, elbows up, flat back. Press the stand using your glute. Arms up, reach. Okay, so for me, right, I really need to keep my low back long. So there's a strong awareness, you guys, of pulling my sitting bones down towards my heels today. Like feeling the hamstrings kind of activate. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, half flat back. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Good. As you take your down dog, lift your right leg up and back, three-legged down dog. Keeping that left hip like there's a rubber band. Pulling your right hip point towards your left knee until your hip feels squared, belly button turning straight down. Inhale, and then very mild, you guys, just bring your right knee on the floor for a pigeon pose. Very soft, knee is bent. Slide that left leg back, pop up to fingertips. Inhale, open your chest like we would in an up dog. And then exhale, bend your elbows and just fold in. You're going to stay in flow. Inhale, lift up. It's kind of like undulating through the spine. You're waving as you fold down and in. And one more. Inhale to lift up. And exhale to fold. Lift back up on your inhale. Plant your palms. Press back. Downward facing dog. Exhaling here. Grab the kite. Control the breath. I'd rather have you grab that string 60 times today in class than just holding it, gripping it tightly for one straight moment. Inhale. Exhale. Step forward, top of your mat. Yep. Inhale, chest open. Exhale, I'm really trying to lengthen my rib cage away from the outer hip, stretching down, lengthening through the armpits as you fold. Decompressing the spine, hands to hips, elbows up, flat back, lift to rise, use your glutes. Yes. So it really is my hamstrings pulling the sitting bones down. Pelvis is in neutral. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half flat back. Step back, downward facing dog. Left leg lift. Yep, with that mindful awareness, put the rubber band on your left hip point, pull it towards your inner right knee, square the pelvis. Inhale. Keep it nice and soft. Bend that left knee, put it behind your left wrist. Gentle pigeon. Back right knee slides down. Top to fingertips. Inhale, think king cobra at the top. Exhale, stretch forward. One. Inhale, wave. Exhale, two. Do it in a way that feels like you're starting to get warmer. You're opening. You're connected to the breath. Squeezing some of the tension out of the left hip. Come back up through center. Plant your palms to press back. Downward facing dog. I really like when I look in the camera here this morning, you guys, I really see that like all of you are kind of like lifting your spine up out of your shoulders. Good. There's a real nice rotation through the hips and sitting bones. Remember, those frontal hip points are trying to press towards your thigh bone. Inhale. Exhale, step your feet forward, top of your mat. Little faster now. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, but keep connection as you fold in. Can you remember to draw the belly button back towards your spine? With soft knees, circle your arms around and up. Inhale, try to get your pelvis as level and neutral as possible. Exhale, fold in, Uttanasana. Inhale, look forward, half flat back. Step back, downward facing dog. Okay, this time, inhale, right leg lifts, trying to keep the hips in neutral because I don't want you twisting your low back when you lift that leg. I don't want you dumping into the left side of the sacrum. And now make it bigger. Bring your right shin bone as parallel as you can to the top of your mat. Now, I have to keep my hips very high to do this. Good, Julie. Yep. And then take your time, Zubair, as you try to lower that right knee to the floor. Good. I'm going to bring my right hand up onto my right knee. I need more height. I'm going to bring my left hand onto my right foot and try to hold it there. Good. Now, nice, Zubair, nice energy in that back leg. Now, as I do this, cat pose. Posteriorly tuck your pelvis. Hook the tailbone forward. You see how much higher you come up? Keep pressing the knee down into the mat. Squeeze the knees together. Lift your arms up. 3, 2, squeeze the knees towards one another. 1, fingertips to the mat. Nice. Walk that left leg back more. The hip muscles should be a little warmer. Inhale, chest rises. Exhale, fold out over that front leg. Pigeon pose. How's the breath? Grab the string. Right? Like that should help you kind of navigate all the sensation in the body. Should be a pretty deep hip stretch here. Remember, you can always walk your left knee and your left foot backwards to keep trying to extend more forward through your spine. Notice if you're holding the breath or if there's resistance. Inhale. Exhale, hands walk back underneath your shoulders. Hopefully that feels pretty yummy, you guys. And step back, downward facing dog. Nice, good. If it helps you to visualize, right? You tip the pelvis and you pour the spine out of the hip. Last time from here, step forward, top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen, half flat back. Exhale, fold in, forward, down, and in. Squeeze the belly button back towards the spine. Soft knees, stretch your arms around and up. Inhale, lift to rise, stack the hips, to stack the heart, to stack the head. Exhale, fold in, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, half flat back. Do you always step back with the same foot? Could you change feet just to keep it different? It's a way to keep connection to the present moment. And then come down, left leg lift. Don't lose the squaring of the hip. This is also going to help release the hamstring. Now, I know this is pretty difficult. Pull that left shin bone forward to the top of your mat like the beginning of class, right? Good. So much deeper as we lower that left knee down. Once the left knee's on the floor, left hand can lock it down, press it down. Left hand holds the left foot, or right hand holds the left foot so it doesn't slide. Now, I have to come up very high. Otherwise, I don't have control of my pelvis and I'm dumping into the low back. I come up high enough that I can hook my tailbone forward. I feel my low back get longer, and now I press down to lift up. 3, push the floor away. 2, 1, fingertips to the mat. Try to keep all of that. Slide your right knee back. Get the left hip closer to the floor. And fold in here. On your own. 3 breaths. Guide the breath into your tension. My words are always like melt, bread, soften somewhere. Next inhale lifts you up to press back, downward facing dog. Okay, so start to put things together, right? See if the outer hips feel a little more open. Thigh bones are always widening, they're pressing out. And then your choice, step or jump, feet together to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Bend knees, drop hips, sit low, chair pose. And then we kind of did this on the ground from seated, right? Bring your left elbow outside edge of right knee for the twist. But remember how it was when you were seated? We kept the hips, the knees, the toes in a line, long spine, rotate, find the bottom of the breath, and then fold in here. Uttanasana, shake out the head, check in with a hamstring, reconnect. Second side, bend the knees, drop the hips, chair pose. And then right elbow outside edge of left knee. So we never want to twist a short spine. We want the spine to extend as long as we can first, like when you were on the floor, and then twist. Inhale. Exhale, release, straight legs, fold here, Uttanasana. And then inhale, lengthen, half flat back. You're prepping the spine. The spine is long for a reason. Try to keep it long and step back into your plank pose with a long spine. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades, bend the elbows, chaturanga. Cobra or up dog, your choice. Downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward up in between your hands, lunge. Check the back heel, make sure it's lifted. Walk the hands up onto your right leg. Good. With my hands on my right thigh bone, I'm pushing it down. Soften your back left knee. Hook the tailbone forward. Cat pose through the hip. Now, extend the arms forward like you're on the floor. You know, like when you're on a tabletop? Pull your ribs back, your side waistline back, your outer hips back. And now, keep that lift through the front of the pelvis. Straighten the back leg, arms lift up, high lunge. Ooh, it should be high, connected, inner knees, squeeze the midline, left hip is on that rubber band, pulling forward towards the right knee. No compression out of the low back. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat, top of your push-up plank pose. Long spine, gaze forward. Keep looking forward. Chaturanga, Urdhva Mukha, up dog. Lengthen up and out of the low back. Downward facing dog. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but then the heat just kicked in, right? We're using some big muscle groups. Left foot steps forward, lunge. Check the back heel, back connection. Back heel's lifted. Walk up onto your thigh. Very different than just coming straight up into a high lunge and holding. We're connecting back leg as I push my femur bone down. Cat pose. Tailbone. Picture a fish hook. And the fish hook lifts right up into the floor, like your pelvic floor, lifting you up into your abdominals. And then I take my hands forward, soften the back, right in your little. And I try to get that imaginary feeling of pushing the floor away like I do in a cat pose. Side waistline back, side ribs back. Round your low back more if you can, Maria. Low back, round, flat. Now, keep all that. Straighten the back leg. I don't care how much you lift up. Extend your arms up. High lunge. Remember the beginning of class? We were reaching the arm bones back. Good. Side waistline long. Woo. It's clear. It's strong. You have a hold of the string. You have the breath. Inhale. Exhale. Hands to the mat. Top of your push-up. Plank pose. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Neutralize it out. Think of your low back vertebra separating, making space. Up dog. Downward facing dog. You're there for 3 breaths. Whatever you need. Yeah, blow that bubble gum of the lungs, inflating them, expanding it open for 2. Inhale. Exhale for 3. Your choice, step or jump, top of your mat, feet together. Inhale, lengthen. Hips over heels, weight over the toes, fold in. Okay, so hamstrings can also, you guys, be a big reason that we have tension in the low back. Bend knees, drop hips, sit low, and the stronger your hamstrings and butt muscles get, it supports the spine. Chair pose. Press to stand. Great. I'm going to grab my double blocks, you guys, New York style, and put them out in front of me. Hands at your hip. Left knee in towards your chest. 90-degree angle in that hinge joint of the knee. Left ankle over the top of your right knee. Now you're doing a standing figure 4. When I start to bend my right knee, I press my left ankle into that knee, and they feel very strongly connected. Push your hips back. Awkward chair. Use your block. No need to balance today, unless you really want to work balance. We're focusing more on feeling what this would be if you were sitting on the floor. Both sitting bones would be on the ground. You would have the lumbar curve. Stretch the spine forward. 1. Inhale. Center of the chest pulls forward. Gaze forward for 2. If you lift your head, you tend to straighten your spine. If you have any more space, please bend a little bit deeper into that right knee. Squeeze. Picture your left gluteus maximus stretching here. Hands at your hip. Come back up to center. Left knee in towards your chest. Release. Great. Change sides. Right knee in towards your chest. Feel the hinge joint of the knee. We never want it to go laterally. It just goes back and forth. We lock that so that the rotation comes from the top of your hip. Great. Okay, so it's a simultaneous action for me. As I'm bending deeper into my left knee, pressing it forward, I'm dragging my outer right ankle into that knee. They're connected, they're locked. And then tip the pelvis. Awkward chair. If you're like me, tightness in my hip swings my hips to the left. I have to press my hips a little bit to the right. Hold at the tops of your thighs. How much can you rotate the pelvis forward? Another way to think about it, you guys, if there was like a string attached to your pubic bone, it would be pulled back towards the back room that you're in and up. And then the chest lengthens forward. 1. Inhale. I bet, Julie, if you bring those blocks directly underneath your shoulders, you're going to have more power to push down and stretch out. Inhale. Where's the weight in that left foot? Drop it back into the heel. Sink a little lower. Hands to hip. As you step to stand. Tadasana. Great connection, you guys. Sitting bones pull down. Engage hamstrings. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold in. I'm just going to take my blocks off to the side, okay? And then maybe change up your legs as you step back, down dog. So I try to step with my right foot first and then my left. And then the next time I connect and I step with my left foot first and then my right. Big toes touch, back of your mat. Keep your hips squared. Lift your right leg up and back. Three-legged down dog. Bend the knee. And now from that ball and socket joint in your left hip, rotate the pelvis open. Yeah, turn that right hip point up towards the ceiling. Yeah, Julie, there you go. Even pressure into both hands as you try to lift the spine up out of the shoulders. Right foot step forward, lunge. Prepare warrior one. Left heel spins to flat on the left side of your mat. Rise to fingertip, cat pose. Do you guys feel how when you do cat, you get more strongly connected into that back leg? And I can control my hips more, left hip points pulling towards that front right knee, hooking the tailbone forward like a big fish hook, lift all the way up. Warrior one. Good. Get the power by standing into the back leg. And then lifting up and out, belly button back towards spine. Interlace the hands behind your hips. Inhale, let's get a little shoulder opening. The variation without swinging your right hip out. Press your right knee open. Squeeze your right hip in and try to bow down. Humble warrior. Right? So the whole class I showed you at the beginning, we're trying to press the knee open and rotate the upper leg bone for 2. Inhale. Exhale for 3. Hands to the mat, top of your push-up. Plank pose. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. You decide, cobra or up dog. Whatever makes it an upper back bend, not low back compression. And then we shift back. Downward facing dog. Big toes touch. Grab the string of your breath. If you lost it, control the mind. Come to present. Lift your left leg, three-legged down dog. Bend your left knee. And now picture it, you guys, the head of the left right femur bone in the ball and socket joint of the hip. That's where we rotate the hip open. Good. Left hip trying to stack on top of right. Left foot steps forward. Lunge setup, warrior one. Find the power of the pause to rise to fingertips. Yep, nice pause there, Julie. And cat pose. Yeah. Let it come from the back leg. Turn the right hip forward. Lift to rise. Warrior one. Back heels grounded. Good. The more I push down into both feet, I can get some power to squeeze my butt muscles and lift up out of my low back. Interlace the hands behind your hips. Inhale. And then remember, knee opening as you fold in. Humble warrior. So even though I'm not using my hands, you guys, I'm pushing so much down into my feet that I can do cat pose through my pelvis. I can feel my core supporting that length of the low back. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Top of your push-up. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale. I'm suctioning my low vertebra apart. Like I'm separating them as up dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, one. Where'd the mind go? Pull it back. For 2, drop in. Feel the body opening. What do you need? Move into that space. Sitting bones turn up. One more. Inhale. Exhale, now you're going to look forward and you're going to take your feet wide to the top of your mat. Toes can turn open, but I keep my heels pretty wide. Bend the hinge joint of the knee. Malasana. Elbows against the inner knees. Sitting bones pulling towards the heels. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, I'm going to take my hands back behind me. Drop down onto your bum. And then step your right foot towards the middle of your mat. So my right heel is in line with my right sitting bone. Left ankle crosses over. Seated figure 4. Okay, so now our sitting bones are stuck down. Okay, so they're glued. Left hand goes through. You can either hold the hamstring or hold the shin bone and pull against the shin bone and sit taller. And then if you close your eyes, can you remember what it feels like when you lay down on the ground? And you could feel the back of both hips. You can feel the lumbar curve, shoulders back, chest open, left knee is pressing forward, trying to get that outer left knee in line with your outer left ankle. Inhale, sit up a little bit taller. Exhale, soften the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. So you're going to look to the right, release your hands, walk your hands to the back of your mat and spin around. Down dog, facing the back of your mat. Inhale. Exhale. Wide feet, step forward, toes out, toes in the direction of your knees, bend your knees, drop your hips, sit low, Malasana. Okay, you guys, so like I hope the pace of this class a little bit is giving you time to like connect to feet, connect to knees, connect to the upper thighs widening. All these little points of connection that we remember. And then if you have low back problems, this is so nice to spread the hips and let the tailbone anchor heavy. Inhale. Exhale, hands come back behind you. Walk it back until you can sit your bum down. Left heel in line with left ankle. Right foot on top. There you go. So when I thread that right hand through, you guys, I have to start loose. Okay, like meaning my left foot is away from me. And then as I use the resistance of holding on to the shin bone, I can sit a little taller. So the more space you give yourself, the longer your spine's going to get. And then maybe as it opens, so this is my much tighter side, maybe as it opens, I start walking my left foot in a little, exploring, lifting up, and pressing the knee forward. Find your edge. And can we get a little more arch in the low back? Inhale. Exhale, so I'm going to look out over my left shoulder, reach my left hand to the top of my mat. And then as you pick up your bum, pivot, turn. Downward facing dog. Pedaling that out. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so hopefully as the hips release, the low back releases, and then it climbs up the spine and the chest and the armpits feel even more open from the beginning of class. We work our way to something. Inhale, forward into plank pose. Final vinyasa, make it a strong one. Chaturanga. Inhale to pull forward, up dog. Downward facing dog. Knees to the mat. And if you want to turn to face the long edge side of your mat, sometimes it can be easier. Okay. And then left shin bone down. It should look exactly right. And I use the edge of my mat, you guys, because I'm anal like that, to put my ankle bone in the center of my knee. And then I take my right ankle and I put it on top of the knee. And see how high it's lifted? That will change when I internally rotate that left leg. Like I pull out the flesh of the buttock. Okay. And look at your ankle. Make sure your ankle isn't broken, Zubair. So push, drive more forward through the heel. And then I'm going to put a block underneath this knee today, right? Like it does not feel supported. I like my fingertips back behind me. And as you start to hinge forward, you may feel that knee start to drop. And if you get to a place where then you could remove the block, then I take the block underneath the head and fold in. A lot of people will call this double pigeon. Find a place for your hands to rest. Forwards, backwards, wherever you need. There should be no knee pain. If there is knee pain, sit up and I'll try to help you. Yep. Okay, so Maria, if there's knee pain, let that bottom left foot pull in. Take the pressure out of the system and then just try with the top leg and maybe support the knee with a block underneath. No, no block, pillow. Okay, yeah, your tip. Yep, your tip. Yep, I get it. So that's why I like my fingertips back behind me, Maria, and kind of use it to like push and tip more weight into that right hip, and that's fine. 30 more seconds, you guys. The 1 minute hold. And so if you don't know what I mean, that your mind is a kite, that's the thing. I want to get out. I want to leave. This pose is too intense. Flying all over the place. Decide to stay and breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Great. Inhale, come back up to center. I like my hands back behind me, step the feet, and then usually it just feels good to rinse that out. Through center, right shin back. Sorry, right shin folds down, left shin back. Okay, so maybe you remember how it felt at the beginning of class. So it might feel like just as intense, but this is a much deeper variation when we cross the shins. Now the shins are stacked. I'm going to go forward enough to make sure my knee feels safe. And then if it's available, you can fold all the way in and support the head. You can relax the upper body. Particularly in a forward fold, when I squeeze my belly button back towards my spine, I feel more space. There's a lot of tension in the hips. Sometimes an exhale out through the mouth. Inhale, lift back up. Okay. And as you rock back to release, let it flow out here. Okay. And then last pose, you guys, I'm going to grab my double blocks to use them in support so that you always lie down first. You never try to insert the block and then lie down. Once you're down, you lift your hips, you stack your blocks flat on one another, bring them to your sacrum, and come into a supported bridge pose. Make sure you're a little bit in that posterior tuck of your pelvis. And palms turned open, eyes closed. Surrendering the weight of the hips into the block. So not a ton of poses today, but hopefully very connected ones that you can kind of feel the electrical current coursing through the entire body. Inhale, exhale. Press into your feet. I'm going to lift the hips, split the blocks. And as I put my hips down, I'm just going to start to extend my legs, and I'm going to bring the block like underneath the meaty part of my hamstring so that my legs are supported. Savasana. There, I might have you push your blocks a little bit closer to your knees so they're less up towards your butt, more to the middle of your legs. Does that feel a little more comfortable? And then palms open to take rest. Inhale. Exhale. When you're ready, stretch your arms up overhead and have that feeling from the beginning of class, like knees stretching forward, elbows stretching back, ankles reaching forward, wrists reaching back, toes lengthening forward, fingertips stretching back, and then bending your knees and roll to your right and press up to find seated. As you fold your hands in front of your heart center, right? So we do these themes, and I know a million times already today, your kite is going to fly away. And how amazing would it be if just one of those times, instead of going into similar and like old patterns and habits, you grab it, you reconnect to breath, pause, and then make your decision. Taking your thumbs to your third eye, bowing forward to seal your practice. Jai, Siddhartha.